Hello, my name's Duke, and you're probably wondering what happened to Artemis this week. ADHD is something that affects up to 6% of adults in this country, and as someone who didn't know they had ADHD until their adulthood, so many things make sense now. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what ADHD is, how it affects me, the people I love, and how I deal with it. So let's do it. So exactly what is ADHD? ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It's a developmental disorder where you can be characterized as inattentive, hyperactive, impulsive, or a mixture of a bunch of different traits. Really, it affects people in different ways, and they end up showing different symptoms. Some people can seem like they have brain fog and just be completely out of it. Some people can be just very, very focused and active that they can't sit still. There's just a bunch of different ways to describe it. Everyone's is going to be different. While these are main ways to describe ADHD, I was blessed to get all of them. Not fun. So yeah, there's a few characteristics with ADHD, and I happen to have a majority of them. So one of them is inattentiveness, and it's very frustrating because it's not like I'm purposely tuning you out. Imagine you're having a conversation with someone. Meanwhile, the oven is beeping, your favorite song's in your head, you remembered an important task, the person you're talking to says something that reminded you of the story you wanted to tell them, the dog is barking, and the fire alarm is still going off. So it isn't that you're not paying attention, it's just more so you have a lot going on in your head. Sometimes you just end up zoning off, you go into a brain fog, and it can be very overwhelming. And sometimes, as bad as it sounds, giving into that brain fog is the best way to sort of relax out of it. But by the time you get back to your conversation, they just think you're not listening to you, or they think you didn't care to listen. And it's very frustrating because you want to show you do care. That being said, there are distractions in life that may keep you from staying on track. In my case, it's my phone. Sometimes it can be what's on the TV, or it can be just surroundings. And it's not easy. Sometimes when we go out and about, if we're at the farmer's market, if we're at the store, there's a lot of things happening around me, and it can be overwhelming that I'm just kind of sort of shut down for a minute. It's not great. Another big role in ADHD is forgetfulness. We tend to forget anything and everything. When I was in school, I remember I did decent, but it wasn't the best time for me. Sometimes the teacher would talk about whatever topic it was, and I'd get the information, I'd be listening to it, but then when it'd come back later, I would just have the worst time trying to remember it. And it also sucks because I tend to be a very messy person. So if I set something down, I will never see it again. I lose my wallet, I lose my keys. Do not hand me your baby. If you hand me your baby, you will never see it again. Hyperactiveness and impulsivity also affect me very, very badly. It's always been kind of weird. I always thought that I couldn't sit still because, I had a song in my head, so I'm moving around to that. Or I'd always just kind of twiddle my thumbs a bit. But no, turns out it is so much more. And sometimes it's very weird because, there will be moments where we'll be doing something together and I suddenly have energy to do it, and then the moment we go into something else, I'm nearly passed out. Or the moment we're getting ready to go to bed, I'm starting up on something else. It's a very weird cycle of just energy going everywhere. Now, in terms of impulsivity, I am very bad at it. I give into my impulses so much. It can be rough. Sometimes I'll just get up one day and just have an idea or an adventure, or see something shiny and pretty and want it really badly. And then I can create a whole stink about it, and then get the item, and then move on to the next thing. And it can be very bad when you're a big Michael Jackson fan and a collector. You're always gonna see the pretty shiny thing. You're always gonna see the jewel of the collection, if you will. And then something else comes along, and something else, and something else. It is insane. But you got to know your limits, and you got to know when enough is enough, and you got to not take it personal, which is something that for ADHD isn't exactly... Your brain doesn't wire you to think that anything isn't personal. Being impulsive also sucks. It can be very draining because it does not make you a patient person. If we're driving, keep in mind, I am an okay driver. But if we are behind someone who the light is green and they are visibly on their phone drinking a gallon of milk, and I know this because it literally happened today, I will lay on my horn and yell. I am a very angry driver because I want to get from A to B efficiently, and I expect people to know the rules of the road, and when they don't follow them, or they're just being an idiot behind the wheel, I get angry. So, the other thing with being impulsive is that sometimes you get a little passionate. So I'll be in a conversation with someone, and if I think of something that I think is related to what they're talking about, I will tend to just blurt it out instead of giving them the opportunity to finish their point or their story. And it's not fair to them. Like, I'm very glad I was able to find a way to connect to what they're talking about, but I shouldn't cut them off when they're trying to tell me a thing. And it isn't out of rudeness. It's not to be bitter or spiteful. It just comes out. Like, on one hand, I feel like as Americans, we already sort of talk over each other. But the ADHD side of things, you notice when you're starting to just blurt. You notice when your quirks are starting to pop up. Now, another big thing with ADHD is that your emotions sort of take over how you react to every aspect of life. Sometimes when you're put in a situation, whether it be confrontational or not, your brain tends to go off of emotion instead of logic. So if someone points out something about you that comes off the wrong way, you may take it as a personal jab or as an attack when it wasn't. If someone is upset at you, you will get upset about upsetting that person. And then you start crying. And you shouldn't be upset because they're the one who was hurt. And you acknowledge that, but you're still sad for some reason. It can be an entire roller coaster of emotions. And it sucks because I would love to be able to just go off the logical route and just think clearly. But my brain doesn't let me do that sometimes. It will make me irrationally angry. It'll make me upset if something doesn't go the way I planned it and I expected other people to know, even though I never told them about it. You have to be able to balance your emotions, and you have to take yourself down a notch before it gets to that level. You have to be able to talk yourself down off the mountain instead of falling down it. While living with it is very hard, I honestly feel I have a lot of sympathy for the people who it affects. So like I've said, ADHD can affect people in different ways. My experience is going to be different from someone else's experience or from someone else that you may know with it. But it can really be straining on my relationships in life. I remember growing up, family, they thought I didn't care at times. They thought I was lazy at times. And sometimes it was, and I'll give them that. And sometimes it was literally, I physically can't bring myself to do the thing. Being in a relationship, being married and having ADHD, it honestly hurts a lot. Because I love Artemis. He's done so much. All you see here, he did all this shit. He put up the shelves. He set all of this up, and it looks incredible. And he's just such an incredible partner. And it sucks because I love him dearly, and I try to do everything I can to show him that I love him. And I know my ADHD, I tend to be very stubborn at times. I tend to think something. If we're sitting there just watching TV or we're just sitting in silence, I just immediately go into, what did I do? What did I do to upset him? Is he mad at me? Are we good? What's going on? And I immediately go into a panic. I can be my impulses are not the greatest. And if something doesn't happen that I think he should know about, then I'm the one who gets upset. But then it's very frustrating because if I do something that upsets him and he tells me that I've upset him, my emotions take over. And I'm upset that I made him upset. And then I'm the one crying, which is really weird because he's the one who got hurt. And it is a very painful spiral, to be honest. I don't wish this on anybody, especially the ones I love. And you can't just do nothing about it if you know you have ADHD, or if you're diagnosed and you just shrug it off. You got to do something about it. So there's a lot of things you can do, and we're going to talk about them. All right, so the whole video, you've been hearing me spew about how awful it is to have ADHD and how it can be very much a struggle to live with, and how it affects the people I love and the people around me. So what do you do about it? You get treatment. That's what you do. And keep in mind, I am no medical professional by any means. I am a 5'5", internationally tolerated dog on the internet. Do not take medical advice from me. If you want advice for ADHD specifically for your needs, go see a medical professional and get the help that you deserve. From me, no. But there are treatments that work for me. So I feel like the most obvious treatment out there would be medication. And yeah, that works for me. I started taking Adderall maybe a year and a half ago or so. And when I first started, it was like night and day. And let me tell you, it helps a lot. There are times where I've not had my refill or forgotten to get it, and I have to be off of it for a few days, and it is a struggle. I genuinely don't know how I went through certain parts of life without it, and I'm honestly grateful to have it now. Now, some people don't want to take medication, and that's okay, but I will say you do notice a difference in that. Now, another treatment that I do is meditation. I feel like a lot of us like to make fun of meditating in the media, you know, sitting with your legs crossed, your hands folded in, humming to the sky, and just the whole kind of hippie freak thing. But no, without dogging on it, it actually is quite effective. It's kind of nice putting in your earbuds and just sitting down for a minute and just letting it all come off of your shoulders. Because like you go through your day, and then you put your buds in and you sit down, and then it just kind of comes off. I started doing this maybe a month or two ago, maybe a month and a half ago, and it's kind of nice. It helps keep you grounded, and for me, it works. If I notice that I'm starting to get irrationally emotional, then I'll just put my buds in, sit down somewhere, and just take 10 minutes or so and just bring myself back to earth. And there's a few different versions of meditation that work for people. Mine is guided meditation, so, you know, earbuds in and taught how to breathe and things to think and see and stuff like that. And it's honestly nice. Even if you don't have ADHD, I'd recommend trying it, because you never know. If you need to just melt the day away, then why not give it a go? So while I do have methods to treat my ADHD, such as meditation and medication, that isn't going to completely stop the ADHD itself. Eventually, you kind of have to learn how to live with it, because it isn't just you're a bad person for these things happening. It's you, and there is ADHD. Like, you are not the cause of this. This is the issue. So you kind of have to learn how to live with it. And the ways you could do that are what I do. You know, I have a couple notebooks around the house, and anytime I need to remember something important, I'll jot it down. I have all of our important dates for the rest of the year written in a notebook in a box behind me right now. I have a notebook for all of the different treatments that we do for our car and all the maintenance we get for it. On our fridge, we have a whiteboard for groceries, which isn't really an ADHD thing, but I will write important reminders on there when I need to. You know, you're not going to be able to tackle all of these things alone. And while it feels like it could be overkill to have things like notes and whiteboards and stuff like that, it's not. Like, it's a tool to help you get through the day. And if you acknowledge that you need help, then it makes it much easier. My phone, I have those important dates that I wrote down, I put them down in my phone for the day. And I have reminders of those events every few, like 2 weeks before, 3 days before, the day before, so I don't forget it. And I can put it on my other calendar with more notes and my work schedule and everything. You can keep track of how life goes, and you won't be upset at yourself for forgetting about it if you just sit down and just put everything where you need to. Even things like little things I want to do, like if I want to work on a cosplay, or if I need to wash my hair this day. I have those and reminders on my phone. I have timers set. There are tools out there to help you deal with these things, and if you use them right, your life might be easier on you. And there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot. I hope you liked this week's video. If you want to support us, you can join Artie's Patreon right over somewhere. I don't know how far the graphics come, so somewhere over there. Join the Patreon. You got a lot of really nice perks, and you get to hang out with us cool people every now and again. Not really, but you can message us, and we'll join the Patreon. Just remember with this week's video is that my ADHD experience is not going to be the same as everyone else's, so yours may be different from mine, and treatments for me will not work for you. So just find what works for you and go from there. I am not you, you are not me. It will not work out. But whatever it is, I hope you are able to overcome it. And just remember, if you're suffering, it doesn't have to be forever. But thank you very much. I don't know how to end these things, so I'm just going to walk out of frame because I don't know how to end these things. It's been a minute since I was in a video. And last time I was vacuuming the ceiling, so... Y'all still here?